Big D Entertainment, in association with Dipsy Doodle Productions, presents The Dave Holly Hour, brought to you by Trio Jazz Club, Sioux Falls' premier jazz club. Enter as friends, leave as family. Serendipity Studio Gallery and Gifts, Chasers Food and Spirits, Excel Chiropractic, Quality Nails, and the Sioux Falls Arts Council. The Dave Holly Hour features Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment Conversations. A true lover of arts, entertainment, good food, and fun times, including an occasional Jack Daniels. Okay, so a few Jack Daniels. Here he is, Dave Holly.
Do we have an exciting show today? That was said with an exclamation point, not a question mark. Later in the show, we catch up with film buff and host of Let's Talk About It, Andey Heller. In just a few minutes, keyboardist Victor Faini. But first, let's get to it and pop the cork on this bubbly little show a little early.
Time to grab your favorite beverage, lift it high, and toast it to being Thursday, a.k.a. Weekend Eve.
Hey, the weekend isn't around the corner, it's here!
So long, hump day and your frumpy way. We say hello to Thursdays with opening nights. The weekend is near and we can see the bright lights. Yes, Thursday, you're so hearty, we can't wait for Friday, so a day early, we start the party.
Doesn't matter what you toast with, as we all have different tastes at different times of the day we listen. I'm having my usual Jasper Newton, Jack Daniels, Diet Coke with a lime, double tall. You might be drinking water, milk, coffee, tea, beer, wine, or champagne. Whatever your beverage of choice is, lift it high and toast to fill-ins, understudies, substitutes, pinch hitters. I like to use pinch hitters because I love baseball. But regardless, here's the situation that took place last Thursday. As you know, I am the co-host of the variety show The Vaudies, Modern Day Vaudeville. One of my duties as a co-producer is aligning the talent that's going to be in the show. Well, last minute somebody had to duck out. But Valerie Aarons, the pro that she is, she was scheduled to come to the show and volunteer. Well, she did more than volunteer. She filled in and gave our musical director, Michael Sorensen, let him know what she was going to be singing to, and away she went. Oh, my goodness gracious, it was fantastic. That show was kind of strange because we had more than just one little issue in terms of what was going to be happening that night, but for the imperfect show that it started off as, it ended up being one of those perfect type shows. Cheers to all of you that save the show. The Weekend Eve Toast is brought to you by Chasers, West 12th and Ellis Road. Stop in for great food, great beverages, and fun times. Join us on Monday nights at 7 for Dave Holly Hour Trivia. Honorable mention. So I made Dave laugh, chuckle, chortle, downright slap my knee, silly, or even shed happy tears recently. We finally got to a monthly jazz jam at Trio. We had been to some before at our wine bar, but this was the first time that we had the chance to get to the monthly one at to catch the up-and-coming jazz talent at the club. It was fantastic. We have a never-ending stream of artists in this community, so great to have the chance to see so many perform. All right, later we talk with film buff Andey Heller. In just a few minutes, keyboardist Victor Faini on the Dave Holly Hour. Trio Jazz Club is an intimate music venue in the heart of Sioux Falls. It's family-owned and family-run. Ricardo and Mary Beth and the entire staff provide the art of hospitality, while the best local and regional musicians provide the smooth sounds. It's a great vibe with live music Tuesday through Saturday nights. The chefs and mixologists offer an amazing menu and beer and wine lists. Cocktails as smooth as the jazz. Join the club. Trio Jazz Club, across from the Washington Pavilion. Enter as friends, leave as family.
Are you an artist? Need some funding to further your art? There's a great opportunity for you through a Sioux Falls Arts Council program. The Artist Microgrant program gives away several microgrants to local artists, no matter what art discipline you're in. Unlike more traditional grants, a microgrant is very easy to apply for. Go to artssiouxfalls.org. If you haven't done so yet, create a listing on the Artist Directory, which is beneficial in its own way. Then go to the Artist Microgrants page and apply online. The process is simple. Find out more about the Sioux Falls Arts Council as well online at artssiouxfalls.org.
Serendipity Studio Gallery and Gifts has some truly stunning artwork you don't want to miss. Join them for their latest exhibit now through March 29th, Unveiled, The Faces of Womanhood. This exhibition delves into the vast and diverse identities women embody throughout their lives. Serendipity Studio, second floor of the historic Shriver Square building in beautiful downtown Sioux Falls.
It's another Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment Conversation on the Dave Holly Hour.
Welcome back, everybody. Certainly it is always a pleasure to talk Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment. And here's a guy that I should have had on years ago. I can actually say that now that we're more than 5 years. Episode number 269, he makes his first appearance on the Dave Holly Hour. Keyboardist Victor Faini. How are you?
Hey, doing good.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great to have you. And, of course, what spurred this was the fact that you play in Etta and the Vendetta.
Yes, yeah.
And you recently played the Bodies. You've made it now.
Yeah, no, it was a good time. That was good, yeah.
It was fun, wasn't it?
What a great crowd.
And
they were
what was so cool about it is we went in there kind of hobbling a little bit. Things kind of got caught up, and there were some people that couldn't make it.
Yeah,
all sorts. And then I think I stated at the end, it's like, for the most imperfect start to a show, it ended up being a perfect show.
It really did. It was cool. It just really all came together.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was so cool.
Yeah, so we'll get to talking about that. But my goodness gracious, you are all over the board these days, all over the keyboards, we could say.
Yeah, there you go.
And so you're with Etta and the Vendetta.
Yep.
And then, let's see, Tuesday nights you're at...
so we do House Band at Icon, they're Dadas. Yeah.
Along with the good friend, Ruben Rodriguez.
Mr. Ruben.
Yeah, he's a dandy,
love him.
for sure.
Man, he's great.
Isn't he one of the most incredible people you'll ever meet?
Yes, he's up there as one of those guys for me as a mentor as far as even where I'm now today with music. So he's, definitely revered for that
smile.
Oh,
man.
Gosh.
So has he referred to you as being a cat?
No, what?
Oh,
yeah. What?
Well, all his jazz friends, he says, "Oh man, I love playing with those cats."
Oh, yeah. Okay, gotcha.
He probably has said it.
No,
you
he probably
didn't know
has.
it.
Yeah, that jab talk, I like it. No, that's good.
And then who else you along with?
So, along with that, I'm also doing Facebook known. He's his name is Tyler Cunningham, but on Facebook it's Tyler Joe.
Okay.
And so he's kind of a single artist cat, but then has been doing enough stuff that also we kind of put the guys together.
Right.
And when he does bigger stuff, we kind of do a live band thing.
Yeah.
And so that's been kind of really fun. But no, very fun.
Yeah. And, speaking of going back just for a moment to Etta.
Yeah.
Tonight being Thursday night, you guys are at the Den, correct?
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Will this be the premiere in terms of a live performance of The Hustler?
Absolutely, yes. It's going to be a really focal point on Hustler. So the whole idea is to kind of they sparked the idea to put it out on Spotify, and then we're like, hey man, we got this show coming up. Let's punch you forward live, and say let's premiere it live too, and kind of really push that forward. So that's been a lot of fun. Very exciting to kind of push that idea. Get it out there and so
original works.
Yeah. Oh man,
I love original works.
I tell you what, it's been any musician will tell you they do the up and downs. You do covers, you do everything, right? And so for me to be in a couple of groups that are doing original music is just amazing. It's awesome. So
And, we first got acquainted because of a man that calls himself Boston Steve.
Yes. Yeah.
Steve Berry.
Absolutely.
Fun time. I wish he'd come back on the show because last time we drank a lot.
Okay. And I think in some vein of conversation, whether with both of us, you and, you and Boston or just him, I heard a little bit about it. Yeah.
Yep,
definitely.
Yep. We've had some fun with
He's
that.
a hoot. Yeah.
There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely.
But so that's how we got acquainted by you playing with Boston Steve.
Yes.
And back in the old days of one of the best venues of all time.
For real. Yeah.
Books and
Brews. Shout out to Books and Brews.
I don't know with that new place that they have.
Yeah.
Do they still have that stage?
So from what I know, we actually with that in the vendetta, we went there and had some food. Ritz Brazil.
Yeah.
I think they still have the stage and they do events there, like private events, weddings, things like that.
Right.
And now what I hear is they're starting to kind of skirt in some music. So
awesome.
I think for the season of March, they're doing kind of a live band there, so it'll be fun.
Oh, good.
Up in the upper area where the eating area is. So it'll be fun.
Yeah. And see that. Would also be another band person, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, both of them. He and his wife
space.
both.
Yeah, both of them. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, gosh, you're right. Yeah, both of them are.
Yeah.
No kidding.
And then they're kind of guru of everything.
Yes.
Have you met Miss Courtney?
So I feel like I did this last time we were there. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing person.
Yeah.
She's probably going to be in an upcoming Bodies.
Sweet.
She plays guitar, including one of my favorite instruments of all time to listen to.
Drum roll.
12-string.
Oh, man. Wow. Amazing. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't hear that a lot either.
No, you don't.
No, you really don't.
And people will say, well, they're strumming twice. It's a different sound.
It totally is.
Yeah, it is. It's a beautiful sound. That and a grand piano.
Oh, it's beautiful.
A duet between those two things, man, I'd be happy as a lark.
Yeah, I like that.
But in the meantime, I love listening to you play.
Yeah.
And it's always fantastic to see you out and about. So how did it all get started? And have you always just been keyboards, or do you venture out onto other instruments?
So my ongoing joke with that, because I've got, including Mr. Rubin, a lot of cats, if you will, that played many instruments. And I'm just on keyboards. And my joke with that is that I'm still trying to figure out the keyboards. So I haven't ventured into anything else. But kind of the traditional sense, when I was a kid, I did
right.
The seasoned, I say seasoned instead of old lady teachers. And kind of in that direction. But yeah, I was a terrible student. I would, they'd say, hey, Victor, did you practice that, lesson plan? I'd be like,
and
no,
you always lied.
I just was playing that song, or I just wrote this song, you want to check that out? That type of thing.
Different.
Yeah.
I like it.
And I was always good with the ear. I can kind of pick up any tune, and if I listen to it for about a couple of minutes, I can tag along with it and get into it. But that kind of molded into just kind of that live band presence, getting
right.
When I was green behind the ears, just getting inundated with playing with different musicians. I heard along the way the old verbiage one time: if you're the worst member in the room, that's where you want to be. The worst band member of the room. So that way you always got a learning curve to go at.
True. No doubt about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's been awesome. It's been great. And then somewhere along the way, I ran into Ruben, and he kind of showed me the way in a different light. And so kind of been venturing out and just supplanting myself wherever I can, to be a part of this and that, different genres, different things. And it's been fun.
Now, the piano lessons with those seasoned, was that something that a parent said, you got to do this? Or was it on your own volition? That
so my dad played piano. I remember when I was a kid, kind of falling asleep as a little kiddo just at the feet of the pedals to piano music.
Really?
And yeah, he played accordion. And so my godmother, she played organ professionally. And so I think that was the original vein of existence for me. And so I was happy to be, involved with the whole lesson rhetoric thing. But not so much as far as apparently sticking to the lesson plan, but no, nonetheless, it was, not necessarily forced, but definitely something I enjoyed.
Okay. So. Now, a question that I ask usually more so of guitarists, and probably second in line would be drummers.
Okay.
How many keyboards do you have?
How many keyboards do I have? At this time, I've got well, you could call it like three or the 3.5. I've got like a Nord and Roland and a little mini Korg.
Right.
But you can never have too many. I mean,
yeah.
And it's crazy though. This day and age, they come out with so many,
Exactly.
variations. It's wild.
Well, and the other thing is, I tell my wife this often. I say, my love, everybody that's a creator has GAS. Gear Acquisition Syndrome.
Yeah. That's great. I love that. That's perfect. Absolutely.
I am selling one of my mixers, though, so and I gave another one away.
Nice. Hey, that's good.
I still have a handful.
Well, and it's nice because sometimes if you can part with them,
Yeah. And the other thing is, what if you need a backup?
Yeah. Right. Well, and actually,
have you ever had that happen to you where you got all set up for a gig? You might have even done sound check, and then stage time comes and...
I got to say, I think the only thing I ran into is for a hot minute with the mini core guy, I was bold and just let it run on the battery charge.
Oh,
right.
You're right.
So you're like mid-show and all of a sudden that thing goes dead. And I'm like, okay, no Korg for this part of the, you know what I mean?
Right.
Oh, and we have a synth section coming out. Great, So, I mean, but yeah, knock on wood. I mean, nothing dramatic, more dramatic than that. So,
yeah.
But I've been lucky. So that's good.
What is your favorite music to play?
Ooh, that's a tricky one.
Do you have a particular genre or a particular artist that you really...
Gosh, I think as of late, I've been really getting into kind of just kind of fusion stuff. And by that, it's a loose leaf term. I mean, I kind of Latin fusion stuff, world music. Jazz has always got a place in my heart. But gosh, if it's good tunes, I'll jump into it,
Yeah.
I've kind of made a purview of doing that, getting into awkward spots, playing different things that I haven't before, so.
Have you played trio yet?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. And actually we did that with the recent one I did. It was Ed and the Vendetta.
That's right.
It was amazing. Yeah, it was awesome.
I didn't get to go to it. I was busy that night.
So we did that and we paired it with Living in Color folks. And so it was like, it's very like we had some singers come on and do their thing. Then we got back on and kind of did a flip flop, but it was a very, very showy-esque type.
Yeah.
It was awesome though. It was fun.
Love that
for
place.
Wednesday. Great place.
Right.
Oh,
and Ricardo and Mary Beth, they did it right.
Absolutely. Yeah. The vibe there is.
Well, not only that, but they sunk some money into it. But it wasn't just that they put money into it; it's how they put the money into it.
Absolutely.
Everything they figured out. Talked to some sound engineers to get.
Yes.
I mean.
Yep.
It's immaculate, first of all, but second of all, the sound is incredible.
Yeah, it sounds great in there.
Yeah.
And the intention, from my perspective, is all the way through 100%. People go there with that intention of the directive of that place is live music, and so it really carries a great tune when it comes to that. So it was a lot of fun. We had a hoot.
Let's go back quickly to the beginnings with taking the piano lessons.
Yes.
What age was that?
Gosh, I want to say, let's call it 12.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll start. Yeah, age 12.
How old were you when you got your first paid gig?
Ooh, that's so interestingly enough. I was kind of intermittent on the whole live scene. I was late to that. Maybe my early 20s, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
Yeah, oddly enough, I didn't.
You were getting seasoned on your own.
Yeah, really, truly. I mean, I didn't do any band or jazz band.
Right.
I wouldn't say it's a regret, but I look back and I go, "Gosh, that's so weird that I didn't do anything." Musically, through high school. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. You do what you do when you do it. So timing was right, and now I'm engaged. I'm in it. Yeah.
Yep.
So
you are fully immersed in it. There's no doubt. I'm thankful for it. Because
absolutely.
You are an excellent keyboardist.
Oh, thank you.
Who do you look up to in that regard?
So, if I looked up to like pros, you guys out in the scene, R.I.P. Chick Corea, John Batiste, PJ Morton from like the Maroon 5 crew. He's got his own thing going on, which is cool. Throwback to 70s, Herbie Hancock, that type of stuff. But yeah, some of those guys are just kind of the off the board. Your classic, I suppose, would be like Dave Brubeck, what I mean, things like that. But yeah, just those nuancy things where I love it when you can listen to an artist and from the first couple keys or the sound that you're like, oh, that's this guy. That's sort of a nuance that's really cool.
Do you own vinyl?
I don't. So
don't?
it's funny enough. I work with a cat
Because
that,
the people that you're talking about.
I know.
Man, I love finding their records when I'm going through.
Oh man, I tell you what, and I've had people tell me I'm an old soul in that regard, but you know what? It's something that I've got an idea. I'd like to do the man cave thing with the house we're in now and kind of do the whole thing. I got a guy I work with that he's a massive record collector and he does audio work and like actually puts in home theaters, et cetera, and stuff.
Oh,
wow. Does and he told me stuff about this, the specificity of record needles that I had no idea of. How they're different, faceted differently, different qualities, and I was like amazed by it. So that was pretty cool.
All right, so along man cave / studio.
Yes, for sure. Partial studio. Yeah, I love it.
Okay.
At the house, actually, I was totally grateful enough that it happened on a whim, but it was so cool. Where we actually adopted a baby grand into our house, and so I've been able to have that, which is just whenever just to have the instrument sitting there, and I can just at any given time just sit down 5 minutes, a couple hours, whatever it may be. But it's beautiful to have an organic piano in the house. It's been awesome.
Do you have a go-to that when you sit down at that, you're always going to play that first?
There's a couple of go-tos, maybe some Al Green tunes, some Ray Charles, even some Nat King Cole,
Right.
So yeah, there's a couple that you kind of do those days to warm up, and then hit the fields and see what you got going on. So
all right. Well, you said that you would go to those early on piano lessons and say,
yes.
Well, no, I didn't practice, but you want to hear this that I wrote?
Yeah.
How often do you write?
I almost write quite frequently, and it's either intermittent, it could be just a phrase, or sometimes you just got the whole thing down. But whenever I have an idea and they pop up a lot, I sit down and I write. And now the trick is to take those ideas and actually, solidify them. Work them through and get them to go somewhere. But the fun thing about it is it's weird how some of that stuff works. I always say to myself, the ones that stick really stick. I've got some phrases and licks that I've played for years, and it's really fun to apply them to different groups that I'm in and see how they, see what lands and what comes out of that. It's pretty fun.
In terms of the actual writing, just doing the instrumental, or do you also write lyrics?
Very much the instrumentals for years, but actually, as of late, I've dabbled a little bit on kind of just writing some stuff down, jotting things down, and people I'm surrounded by too that are more affluent in that have kind of pushed me to do that. Be like, hey, you should kind of, and I like opening up those veins, and kind of seeing, what becomes of it,
Well, one of the things that I love talking about on this show, ever since the beginning, is I think we are incredibly blessed in this arts community by one word: collaboration.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
I mean, yes, we all want to get our piece of the pie, but nobody's out there beating each other up because you took my gig. I got to have this.
No, right. No,
everybody wants to work together.
It's very cool. I mean, and you see that through the music scene. You see how those circles almost, I've called that circles on circles with musicians because sometimes you're like, how have I not played with you yet? Yeah. And then other times it's like, wow, look at all these meshings, of these cats from this scene and that one. And all of a sudden you're like, they're all, Ruben being one of them. I mean, like one of the centrifugals of that.
I told you that recently.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yes. Yeah. Where it's like, he's the king of that, which is great. I mean, because truly it's, and like you said, what a blessing to be able to do that. Because getting that perspective of being able to put your ideas out into the scene, but also get other ideas at the same time from other people and their ideas, and then blending those together. I mean, it's so cool.
What moves you with music?
What moves me with music, I think, is definitely emotion. It's kind of a meditative thing, to even the other day, like Edda had made like a Facebook post, and I responded to it like via just sitting down and playing something. Just to see what it would invoke, the taking the emotion and putting it onto the keys. And it was awesome. I mean, that's truly for me is like the passion is where if you can grab kind of the center idea or the emotion of what you're feeling and then put it into your instrument, it turns out beautiful almost every time, whether you use it in something or not, it's real, you're putting out of the world. You've now made this thing that was a feeling, and you put it into words or music, and that's just what can you ask for?
All right. So you go modern when it comes to listening to music. You
Yeah.
don't have vinyl. How about when you write, though? Is it pencil and paper? Or are
Oh,
you
for
doing it
sure.
digital?
I am. I'm so hardcore. Like scratches on notebooks. I mean, just that whole intermittent. Like, what was I doing here? You like
Toilet
a
paper?
half-written page. Yeah, right. Or like itinerary, and then all of a sudden, very split brain type stuff there. But yeah, hardcore, like old school when it comes to that. So it's pretty fun.
All right. So you've mentioned several times how you keep learning from everyone and so forth. What's the biggest lesson you've learned about just playing on stage versus just sitting at home?
Yes. So live music played to me is a totally different animal because it all depends what you're doing. Like, for example, I remember when I was doing stuff with Boston Steve, and it was just a 2-piece, right? Well, playing in a 2-piece, it's like if you drop the bottom's gone, you know? And so learning those where to be and when to be live is huge, and being part of that moment, and also sharing, right? Like a conversation, not being the only one talking in the room, as I start and you pick up and then back and forth. It's very much similar with music. Like we're kind of learning that vibration and being able to pass that ball around the room has been a really cool experience with music.
Yeah, and then tying that back into you talking about, you'll come up with different phrases, licks, and so forth, and talk about incorporating them. What about when you're specifically playing jazz with somebody? Because that is such an improv piece. And is that something you've mentioned to them before, or when it comes up, you just go?
So, I mean, for example, with our house band, a lot of the time we'll start off our sessions with just somebody brings a lick or a groove for the first song, and we just go with that.
Yeah,
and we see where it goes, and that can be very fun, and to have like-minded musicians in the room to like communicate that and just kind of let it flow, and let it loosen up, a little bit. Sometimes, you have that tenseness sometimes, and you just got to let that just go and flow, and then you see what kind of transpires. It's very, very fun.
All right. What about in 5 years?
Okay.
What do you see yourself doing in music yet?
I think in 5 years, I mean, I would hope to be continuing down. That's, what I'm doing now is a path that I've strived for, is to be playing original music and just keep pushing that idea. I'm not really, I mean, hey, heck, if the golden ticket comes, it comes, but I think it always comes when you play music you're satiated with. And for me, like continuing to do original music, be part of the scene, adding to the scene, helping to help it grow. I mean, that's what I look forward to. Ultimate venue you would love to play? Ooh, ultimate venue. I gotta say, the Blue Note would be a high end. I mean, gosh dang, or Red Rocks. Something like that. So an outdoor theater would be huge. But yeah, those would be two toppers, I suppose. Yeah. Absolutely. Just don't play for Dave Matthews Band. I got kicked out of one of his concerts. Get out of town. Oh, you'll tell me that story one time. Yeah. All right, Victor Faini, certainly appreciate your time. You are a first-time guest, so that means we go back to the original questions that we end the conversation with. How you answer the first determines whether the second one needs to be asked. Okay, so when you are not part of the arts and entertainment scene, what do you like to be entertained by? Ooh, I would say I like to be entertained by, either listening to music when I'm not playing, is still super exciting. Comedy is great too. Yeah, I love comedy. That's something I've kind of just started to dip my toes into, but it's very cool. And also, I'm getting a little into theater too. Oh, yeah, like play. I like it. Yeah, so I've seen a couple as of late, and I was like, I'm very much enthused by that. I mean, it's amazing. It's part of the arts that is a totally different thing than what I do, and it's very cool. And but still so much very conjoined, to what music is. But so those. I wish I could remember who the person was that originally said it. That said that. Everything is art. Yes. There you go. Absolutely. No Everything is art. Absolutely. And then, I was watching
I think it was 60 Minutes, or it was Sunday Morning, one of those shows and so forth. And the guy said, once you are an artist, you never stop.
Ooh.
And I loved that, too.
That's very solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are deep, something to contemplate,
so.
Yeah.
All right. So then you do get the follow-up question.
Okay.
Do you have any other hobbies?
Other hobbies for me, I haven't touched it for a hot, but I used to do a lot of like painting and artwork.
Really?
Yep. So that was kind of one of my purviews to do, and I got to get back in the stick with that because I still got my
abstract. What did you
kind
follow?
of portrait /
Wow.
kind of over the board. Yeah, I got this. My brother will attest to this. I've got a unfinished Abbey Road Beatles thing that I kind of did, and kind of put my own taste to it, too. So kind of that contorted portrait type of action. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, why not? Right? Continue on with the arts.
Yep. Yeah. Love it. Hey, Ad. I was almost going to call you Adam Gooch because you look a little bit like him.
Hey,
you just talked about comedy earlier.
No, that's all right. Yeah.
Victor Faini. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you being on, and this won't be your last time.
Oh, excellent, man. It's been a pleasure being here. Thanks so much, Dave.
Thank you. And we'll be back with more of the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment. Playing the Trio Jazz Club tonight is Porch Swing. It's gypsy jazz and western swing. Taking the stage at 6:30. Friday night, Grammy-nominated keyboardist Mitch Town has two shows, 6:30 and 9. Paper Moon. It's an amazing quartet with quite the vocalist from Spirit Lake, Iowa. They play 6:30 and 9 Saturday night. Coming up next week then, Augustana University's Blue and Gold Jazz Combo set for a 6:30 show Tuesday the 18th. Then a special treat Wednesday evening. 2 jazz funk sets with the Brian Hannigan Quintet. First one's from 6:30 to 7:20, and then from 8 until 9. So in between, from 7:30 to 8, is We Want the Funk, a film screening by South Dakota Public Broadcasting. So for more information on these and other shows, go online at triojazzclub.com.
Dr. Perry Langston and Dr. Corey Tooney know excellence is in you. That's why they provide you with excellent care at XO Chiropractic, improving your overall health in spirit, body, mind, and will. Get results the natural way. Arrange a consultation, 605-332-9235 or xochiros.com. Excellent care for excellent people. XO Chiropractic, located at 4309 South Racket Drive in Sioux Falls.
He's jazzed to the eyeballs. Once again, here's Dave Hawley. Crikey, mate.
Welcome back, everybody. Yeah, I love talking about Sioux Empire Arts and Entertainment because it's always a pleasure to do so, and it's always a pleasure to have good friends back in the studio. And let's see, we interviewed one time at Wood Grain. Mm-hmm. And then I believe this is now your second time in the Dipsy Doodle production studio, Andey Heller?
Second time in the studio,
Oh, excellent. Great to have you, Andey Heller.
It is so lovely to be here, Dave.
Yes, let's talk about.
Let's chat.
By the way, since the last time you were on, have there been any golden avocados? I haven't seen it.
Oh, goodness. Honestly, I don't recall. I've kind of changed things up a little bit. I haven't been posting reviews as much to social media as I have been to just Letterboxd, which is a lot easier to post things. And yeah, I mean, there have been some. I finally saw the classic film, The Seven Samurai, which I had never seen before. One that I had started multiple times and just never could finish. And then the state did a screening of it.
State.
Yeah. And it was just, it was beautiful, just as fantastic as everyone ever said it was. And yeah, that one got an instant golden avocado. I loved it.
Excellent. I love hearing that. Yeah. For those that are unaware, Andey likes to rate movies based off of 1 to 5 tacos. But if you get that big one, golden avocado.
Yeah, it's better than a taco.
Yeah.
Like you have to, you've got to put the avocado, like a taco with an avocado, that's the best kind of taco.
Yeah.
So that's the limited ones. Those are the really special ones, get that avocado.
And it's always kind of funny because I've thought that there's so many people that don't understand the avocado. They don't know that, they just sit there and go, well, guacamole is not the most favorite color. I said, close your eyes, taste it.
Taste it. It's delicious.
It has a purpose.
Oh, especially with enough lime in it.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
And you know me and limes.
Yeah?
Along with Jack Daniels and Diet Coke. Gotta have them.
It's the best.
I even have lime socks now.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do. I wear them proudly.
Oh man, yeah, I love it. Like that was kind of the thing. I got on this really big avocado kick where it was like, wanted avocado toast, wanted to make sure I had plenty of avocados for my tacos, and I was like, what makes tacos better? And so that's why that's the ultimate. And then at the very bottom of the barrel, those movies get what I call the turd, which is, I mean, not to gross anyone out, but that could be taco related too.
Well, yes, it could. In fact, I think it was the first radio job I had out of college. I actually got to have an office.
Yeah.
And, I was working in Colorado, and you have real Mexican food.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of but there was a Taco John's also just a block down from the station, so that helped. But I remember a coworker of mine got the biggest kick out of a sign that I had put on my door one morning. It said, "Careful, I ate burritos last night."
Sometimes I feel like I should have that on a T-shirt.
We can make one.
Just to give that
We
forewarning.
can make one. There's no doubt about that. Oh, my goodness gracious. Some stuff has happened locally, nationally. Yeah. I mean, we've seen a lot since the last time you were on here. And I want to talk about a couple of local things first.
Oh, fire away.
Lost on a Mountain in Maine.
Yes.
What did you think of that?
I loved it. I loved it so much. It's really cool to me to see that South Dakota is able to produce that level of talent.
Mm-hmm.
Like we know it from living here.
True.
Like we get to see these people who are putting on these theatrical productions all the time, and they're fantastic. Like just great stage productions all across the board, from the community theater to all the little independent theater groups that are also doing stuff. And it's nice to kind of have somebody who's kind of like broken out and has produced this film that for me felt like the best kind of throwback to like the adventure movies that I grew up on.
Right.
Where it's like appropriate for the whole family to watch, but doesn't like necessarily pull punches. It's like it can be scary. And I think Lost on a Mountain in Maine just really captured that sense again. And it's the kind of movie where it's like, I realize it got a pretty small kind of release. It did get a wide release, but it was still kind of small. But it's the kind of movie that I hope that people discover, because it really is just this like kind of awe-inspiring thing for something on a small budget made by an independent director. So kudos to Andrew Keitlinger.
Yes.
What a phenomenal movie. Just loved it.
And you know what is really fun is if you were at that movie and you know of local people, take a look at the special thanks.
Yeah. It was fun to kind of watch. Like, I'm a guy that likes to watch the credits, and I've kind of done that before. Marvel conditioned everybody to watch the credits. But it was really cool to kind of watch as things get down. And it's like, you kind of like zone out just a little bit, but then you look at the screen, you see a name that you recognize, and you're like, wait a second. And then there are all these names that you recognize. And it's just kind of like,
40 of
wow,
us or something.
yeah. And so it's like, it's very cool that because this movie was made by somebody who lives in the South Dakota area and had all these connections to the South Dakota area, it was like, I need a little bit of voiceover help. Who can I get involved? Yep. And just so
fun to work with too.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a unique experience.
Yeah.
I knew a little bit about looping.
Sure.
I didn't know much.
Yeah.
But really, really enjoyed learning the process as well as just, doing the process.
Yeah.
So fun in that regard. And then let's see. Oh, there's this little series that was shown as a two-part movie recently at the State as well.
Yeah.
Thank you, State.
Yeah.
Last Stop, the series. You wrote one of the best reviews in terms of heartfelt, here's what it meant to me as somebody that goes to that store, as somebody that sees these people and so forth.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I think I shared it. I don't know if I shared it, to this audience and so forth, but if you ever get a chance, where would they find that? Do you still have it posted somewhere?
Yep, I sure do. So it is both on my Facebook and on my Instagram.
Okay.
And yeah, I just, it's funny, we're doing these 2 South Dakota projects, and in my head, I'm like, oh man, I really seem pretty biased here, but they were wonderful.
Yeah.
And that show was so much fun because it came out of a place of love. Like the creative people were just like, had stuff that they wanted to say. And it was kind of a love to this store that has been a staple of Sioux Falls, before I even moved here. But it's just this excellent tribute to this place that is like a haven for, I want to say a haven for the outsiders, but it's also a haven for everybody.
True.
Like it is just, if you like movies, if you like books, if you like music, if you like video games, they have anything there for you. Now board games, now vinyl records, now pop vinyl collectibles. Like if you love pop culture, Last Stop has something for everybody. And to kind of see that like idea put up on the screen by Dominic, who I just think is outstanding. Like he has a wealth of potential as a filmmaker, and it's just like to see him do something like this where it's like kind of challenging him to
because he went out of his genre for this.
Yeah, like he's a horror guy.
Yeah,
and to see him really tackle comedy and like have it not to sound like but no, to have him like really pay off with his jokes. Dominic's funny. And I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the other guy who helped create it, but like, just because I don't know him, but I just thought they were fantastic. And you have this excellent cast, like regular cast there, but then what do my eyes get to be delighted with a fantastic villain performance by One Dave Holly. I was just like, this is so expertly cast. I love it when any show puts somebody that you adore in a performance where you kind of loathe them because you have to wrestle with your preconceived notion of them.
Very
and be like,
true.
oh, is this person really a jerk? But no, I had so much fun. And I'm glad that other places in South Dakota are going to be able to see this because you don't have to know Last Stop CD Shop to know what it's like to go to a secondhand entertainment store.
True.
And like, I feel like everywhere has something like that where you can appreciate it's kind of run by the cool people, and it's like, you kind of look, walk through the door and you're like, oh, I want to be a part of that group so bad. I just loved it.
It's funny you brought that up about, somebody that you think highly of and then they play a villain.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the opposite. I see these people that are, always cast as villains and so forth.
Yeah.
And then I got to start searching them and see, like, are there pictures where they're smiling anywhere? They got a little bio so we can find out what they're really like.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, are they really that bad? Like, is there ever a time where they're super nice? And then it turns out that they're like the nicest people on the planet. I'll give you one example. The guy who plays the main villain in the Terrifier franchise, this big horror, like gory horror franchise, and he plays the most sadistic killer clown in existence. Apparently he is the nicest man. Like, he meets fans and like has hour-long conversations with them. And I'm like, you are a sweetheart, but I never want to see you in costume in person.
It's like the guy that plays Voight on Chicago PD.
Sure.
He plays a cop.
Yeah.
So he's, for right and wrong and everything, but he's kind of gruff and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And the voice that he got, he was in an auto accident when he was a teenager.
Oh.
And that's, it's not a, I got to play the tough guy.
Yeah.
It's just what happened to him.
That's just how it is.
But also, from all, everything you read, it's like, wow, what a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's always kind of fun.
It's so nice. It's so nice. It's kind of like, I don't know. It's just, it turns your expectations on their head, and you're just kind of like delighted to find out that people are so pleasant.
Also, since we last spoke, Oscars.
Yes.
Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Overall, I would give it a thumbs up. It was a weird Oscar year for me.
Very.
Because it was almost like up until the last minute, there were several categories that didn't have a clear favorite. And that's always both exciting and incredibly frustrating, because it's exciting because you don't know what's going to happen. And it does set the table where you could be a little disappointed, but it's also frustrating because it's like, if you are trying to win an Oscar poll, you can't win that poll because you just don't know. But I think this year, overall, things turned out pretty good. I am not in the camp that loves Anora, which was the big best picture, best director, screenplay, actress, I think editing. So like 5 of the categories it was in, out of 6, like it won. And that's pretty dang good. I'm not in the camp that loves that movie, but I do like it. And I think it's one that kind of over time, I'll begin to like it quite a bit more. But it's, it was just such an interesting year, because this was a year where independent films really kind of took the reins. And it's an interesting spot because the movie business as a whole is so different, because it's like, I think things kind of turned around a little bit last year, where we're seeing more movies back up to making the $100 million plus at the box office. But I think a lot of people are either it's almost like you have 2 factions. You have the one group of people who only love blockbusters, will only go to the theater to see the blockbusters. And then you have the other group of people who are just so anti-blockbuster that they'll only go to the theater to see the indies. So it's kind of, you have that cross section of people where it's just kind of like, how do you make a movie that is cross quadrant, that appeals to everybody? And I don't know that this year was a big one as far as the Oscars were concerned, where it was something that can appeal to everybody, but the movies were still pretty good. So it's always a fun thing to armchair quarterback.
Oh, easily.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, I guess it's just kind of a personal thought that we're seeing so many movies that are successful, the big blockbusters, because of franchising, sequels, prequels, origins, everything else. And you used to go, oh, boy, that's probably going to win Best Scenic Design or Best Special Effects.
Yeah.
And now they're amongst the fray.
Yeah.
Everything's in there and so forth. And I want to see some good movies again. I'm not big into the franchises.
Sure.
The only one being Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Harrison, you pushed it too far on that 5th one, bud. Sorry. Yeah. But, there's still, because in some ways I also respect that we do have these franchises, because you look back at it, obviously you and I were not around the first time that all the black and whites came out for, let's see, Superman and all the different movies, King Kong and, and Tarzan. How many Tarzan movies were there? 13 or something.
All those serials and stuff.
So it's all of those that you kind of go, well, I can see why, and so forth. But I do really long for a really good movie.
And it's more exciting too when it's this really original idea. Like I love seeing, I will see King Kong movies. I will see Godzilla movies. I'll see the superhero movies, and it's, they're fun, but there is something about seeing, even if it's a book adaptation, but it's like just the one book, seeing something that is really like, this is new, this is fresh, that really just captures your imagination and makes it so you're glued to the screen. And it's like, with those franchises, you kind of know where they're going to go, right? It's like, oh, Indiana Jones is my hero. He's going to end up saving the day one way or another. The newest one differentiated from that a little bit. Not very well.
No.
But it did. But it's like
still an enjoyable movie.
Right.
For me, though.
Right.
Yeah.
But you get the idea, like, where there's something about a really unpredictable movie where it's like, oh, I don't know where this is going to go. I am glued to the screen.
Right.
Like I am thrilled by this. And so more movies like that, I almost feel like the studios need to realize that you're going to get people in if the movie is good, So, and it can be something that doesn't feature Wolverine or Deadpool,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm with you though. I want something good, something really, really good.
And of course, my fault is baseball movies.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I've been watching some of the documentary stuff lately.
Oh, sure.
Bob Uecker.
Yeah.
And then Marty Brennaman, who was the broadcaster for the Cincinnati Reds. He's still alive, but,
Sure.
once somebody has one, they're going to follow suit. But just so enjoyable to see that as well. But and you and I we have the same thoughts on one particular, For Love of the Game.
Oh. Such a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
Such a great movie. It's a movie that every time I watch it, it fills me with like such warmth.
Yeah.
Like it's a beautiful baseball movie. On the complete other side of the spectrum is Field of Dreams, which is of course, that's Field of Dreams. Oh, Field of Dreams. But like For Love of the Game is also just phenomenal movie.
Yeah. If you've not seen it, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Go out, find it somewhere. But right now, I've been trying to find, because, I'm itching for the baseball season right now. And I've been trying to find baseball movies being streamed.
Yep.
Not much.
Yeah.
Wow.
It almost feels like, too, and I was just thinking, I was like, when was the last time they made a new good baseball movie?
Yeah.
And I can't think of anything.
No.
The most recent ones I can think of would be like The Rookie with Dennis Quaid.
Yes.
I also really liked $1 Million Arm. I think that was with John Hamm. That one was good, but it's like there's this chasm of like nobody's making these great, I would say these great sports movies, not just baseball, but it almost feels like the sports movies are kind of like falling off the wayside for these big franchises. So go studios, go back to sports, make some sports movies. You can tell some really great stories with these.
Did you ever see Trouble with the Curve?
Yeah. Was that Justin Timberlake, like a Clint Eastwood movie?
Clint Eastwood.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
And then also Amy Adams.
Yes. I've seen it once. I don't remember much of it.
Okay.
But I do remember seeing it.
Good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it up there in the great.
Yeah.
But still, if you're a fan,
yeah,
watch it.
Moneyball. Moneyball's another baseball one.
Yeah.
But that's the strategy of baseball, which is ooh, that's a cooker.
That is. But I always try to find, even if it's a crap movie, I can quite often still get one line out of a movie. Yeah. That, not to say that Moneyball is a crap movie, no, by any means.
Yeah.
But I always like to see if I can find one quote out of that, and I love it when Billy Bean is called in to the office at the guy that played that Noah played, and he says, "Watch this," and it's the large catcher for their AAA team.
Yeah.
Hits it and decides for his first time that he's going to try and stretch it into a double and flops all over on his headfirst slide into second base. And Billy B goes, "Oh, no." He says, "No." Says, "He hit a home run, and everybody else on the other team is telling him, get up and run around the bases." And Billy Bean's line is, "Hard not to be romantic about baseball." Oh, man.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, no doubt about that. What's coming up that you're going to be having your headlights on?
Goodness. It's so funny. Like the Oscars take up so much of my brain during Oscar season that it almost takes me like several weeks to kind of recover from it. And so I'm kind of like, what even comes out the rest of the year? And I don't know. I think this summer, oh gosh, it's so funny. I just went on this tangent of like blasting these franchise movies, yet two of the movies I'm looking forward to the most this summer are the new Superman movie and the new Fantastic Four movie.
Mhm.
So I'm just as bad as I critique. But I did see on this past week, there was the movie Mickey 17 that came out. It's a science fiction movie
Yes.
where they create this clone of a person, and just for the sake of like experimentation, they let him die, and then they reclone him and have him come back, and then he goes out and dies again. And it's directed by his name is Bong Joon-ho. He's a Korean director, won an Academy Award for Parasite a few years ago, and it's his most recent movie. And I thought it was a ton of fun. It's very weird, and I think that most audiences might be a little, it might go up against their sensibilities, but I really had a great time with that one. And so I was very excited for that, but now it's kind of like, it's kind of a lull. And I mean, if I look at the show times for what comes out each week, I'm sure I'll see something, but off the top of my head, I'm kind of like, oh, now what?
We have this boatload of built up credits.
Yeah.
And it's like, just not going, oh,
Yeah.
go must see.
Yeah.
Not at that point right now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take your advice on that one, though.
Yeah. I would say too, like this is just for me being a movie lover. The State Theater here in Sioux Falls is kicking off their Martin Scorsese director series. So I think in the next 8 weeks, they're doing 12 of Martin Scorsese's best movies. So it's like, you get to see Goodfellas, The Departed, Casino, Hugo, all of these great movies that Martin Scorsese has done are getting a chance to play on the big screen here in Sioux Falls. And that's just like for movie fans, that's a big deal. So
yeah, it is.
I think that's something that's really cool to take advantage of. So if I can't think of anything new, I have great old stuff to catch up on.
Yeah. And always such a pleasure to just set your butt down on those great seats, crack a beer if you want, and watch a wonderful movie, whether a new release, limited run, or classics.
Yep.
And man, they have done some great stuff on classics there.
Just the most beautiful theater. Like they put a lot of love and work and care into everything that they screen, be it, like you said, the classics or like the weekend matinee kids movies. They put a lot of love just to make sure that everybody who shows up there really gets to see the movie in the best way possible.
Yep. All right. One final subject before we get to the final question. Boy, I keep hearing a lot of people say, how are we going to get Andey Heller back on stage?
Oh, man.
From many a mutual friend.
Oh, really? Gosh. It's funny. I think about it every so often that I'm like, I should do a play again. And I'll be honest with you. Like, I do want to. I have to get myself back in fighting shape again. That's how I like to put it. Like I've got some back issues that make it very hard for me to stand for long periods of time. And then I'm just a chubby dude. So I need to kind of slim down a little bit. But if I can focus on that and get to it, I'll be back on stage soon. And especially if there's a show that I am just like, this is a great play, I want to do this. Maybe they'll let me sit in a chair while I do my lines. But, I will do another show again in this city because I love it. Like it's a love that I can't shake. Being on stage is a ton of fun. Directing is a ton of fun. I am surprised with how much I love stage directing because it's just, you get to kind of like, not just like control the story, but help the actors find the roots of their character. And it is such a fun thing to watch people like discover who they're playing. Because it's like, even the biggest of villains, some people can like find a way that they connect with that villain. And it's like, oh, what they're doing, they're not bad. Their goals are bad, but they have like, the reason behind it. And I just think it's magic to watch that come together. So, I would love to get back up on stage again. I gotta work on me first.
All right. Understandable. I've been there, done that.
Yep.
Okay. So a new set of questions for you since you've been here a few times. Let's go with What would you title your autobiography?
Oh, man. My autobiography. It's I'm trying to think of something like cool, something really like, oh, this is funky. But I also just kind of am like, I'll just be simple. Like, I think back to the movie Almost Famous, where he's Russell is on the roof of the garage or roof of the house, and he's about to jump, and they want him to say something profound, and then he's like, I dig music, and then they're like, oh, yeah. Yeah. And then he's like, I'm a golden god. Yeah. So, I mean, part of me is just like, I dig movies. You know, the life and adventures. I dig movies. The life and adventures of Andey Heller.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
But if I wrote a biography about you, I know what I'd write it.
Well, what would you call it?
The Golden Avocado.
Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I love that.
All right, man.
That's great.
Love you too, bud.
Oh.
And thank you so much for spending some time. And of course, it won't be your last appearance, I'm sure.
I'll be back, Dave.
All right.
Anytime you ask me, I'll be.
Well, you know, you're in that little book that I told you about.
I love it.
Yep.
I love
All right. Appreciate it, my friend.
Thank you so much, Dave.
And we'll be back to wrap up the Dave Holly Hour in just a moment.
Hot? No. Cute? No. Ruggedly handsome? Yes. Once again, here's Dave Holly.
Thanks again to my great guests, Victor Faini and Andey Heller. I encourage you to find your art. Find the art you enjoy. Find the art you're interested in trying. If you need a couple of suggestions, Etta and the Vendetta live release of their new original single, Hustler, tonight at the Den. Friday night, Improv Falls Comedy. They make stuff up as they go along. So join me at the Arts. Remember, everybody, my name is Dave Holly, and for me, every day is a holiday.
The Dave Holly Hour has been brought to you by Trio Jazz Club, Sioux Falls' premier jazz club, Serendipity Studio Gallery and Gifts, Chasers Food and Spirits, Excel Chiropractic, Quality Nails, and the Sioux Falls Arts Council. Stay up to date on the show by following on Instagram and Facebook. All episodes available anytime at DaveHollyHour.com. The Dave Holly Hour is produced in the Dipsy Doodle Studios by Big D Entertainment.
Thanks for listening.